Carissa Maxwell of the Sporting News here with none other than Jon Jones, who is making his return to the octagon at UFC 285 for the heavyweight title fight. Now, I'm sure you've been reminded multiple times, but 3 years is a long time to be outside of the ring. And not only are you making a comeback, but you're making a debut at heavyweight. So we know you're going to be bigger and stronger, but what else can we expect from you as far as the differences in your fighting style? And how excited are you to show the world this new version of Jon Jones?
I'm super excited. I'm super excited. I feel like a lot's changed in my game. I feel like just the man that I am outside of the sport, it's just a better, stronger man, a very well supported man. I think that's going to be reflected in the octagon. My physical strength, I feel, has made a huge leap. You know, before I could hit somebody as hard as I could, and they wouldn't even take a step back. You know, now I feel like I have some real stopping power. My takedowns feel very explosive. You know, when I make up my mind that I'm going to get someone to the ground. Lately in my practices, I'm batting 100 there. So I feel great. I feel energized. I feel in a great place. I feel a lot of light and a lot of love around me from the fans, from the staff members, from the city of Las Vegas. And it's just awesome. It's an awesome time to be alive, dude.
So obviously you're excited, but is there any part of you that's a little disappointed you're not making your heavyweight debut against Francis Ngannou, given that he was the undisputed champion?
No. It is what it is, man. Francis walked away. You know, he had the opportunity to face me, make the most amount of money that any heavyweight had ever made. And he didn't want to take that gamble. And so now I have to just let destiny be what it is. And I have to do my part in that by beating Ciryl Gane.
Do you think that he could potentially come back to the UFC, though, especially if you are champion?
I hope he comes back. I know the fans would love to see that. I know it would be a huge opportunity for both of our teams and both of us. And I really hope it happens.
And in the 3 years that you've been gone, you know, there was a pandemic and a lot of people at home, they struggled with their own mental health issues. Did you find yourself struggling mentally with so much downtime?
Oh, man. Well, the pandemic definitely got me. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. There was times where I was very scared, very stressed out. You know, I have a family to take care of and provide for. And I mean, in Albuquerque, there were moments where all the groceries were gone, couldn't find toilet paper. Of all things, right? Toilet paper. Why are people hogging the toilet paper? Um, yeah, you know, things got a little weird for all of us. And I felt like a lot of people couldn't recover. And I felt like, on the other hand, a lot of people did their best work. And I feel like one of the people, fortunately, who did some really great work. I stayed focused. I came up with a plan. I stayed in the gym because I knew that gym would help me survive mentally. And you know, now the dust is settled, and I present myself a better version of my old self, and I'm grateful to be there. I sympathize for those who still haven't been able to get it together, and you know, we just got to pray for our country. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, and you know, looking back at your career before you left for those 3 years, as you know, you were a light heavyweight and you ultimately vacated that title because of fighter pay. And even though you've been gone, that debate has gone nowhere. We haven't really gotten really far in it. So what is your current stance on the UFC fighter pay issue?
I am very happy with the UFC. I'm very happy with the UFC. Obviously, we have a lot to work on as an organization. There's a lot of fighters who aren't happy, but I'm happy. I'm happy, and this may sound a little cold, but in life, you get what you earn. You get what you earn. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? And I feel like I've committed my whole life to this sport, and finally, I feel like I'm getting what I've earned. And I just want to encourage the younger fighters, the guys who aren't happy right now, to just keep working, keep grinding, take it day by day, take it year after year, and eventually, you can't be denied. And so, just keep working, keep working. You know, I went the majority of my career not happy with my pay. but I stayed at it. I stayed vigilant. I stayed faithful to the project and to the goals, and now I am happy. So it's so possible. Look at Francis' situation. He just, he's boxing. He's finding a way for himself. Look at, Jake Paul came out of nowhere, and now Conor McGregor went from rags to riches, and the list goes on and on. The UFC has changed a lot of people's lives for the better, and I feel like you get what you work for, and you just got to keep working. And eventually, it will happen for the other guys as well.
Speaking of Jake Paul, he has been one of the loudest advocates for fighter pay and has not shied away from sparring head-to-head with Dana White. Right. And I know you had him to win against Tommy Fury this past weekend. That obviously did not happen, but he is still undefeated against MMA fighters. So do you think this is a good time for him to make the transition to MMA and step in the octagon?
Man, I think Jake could do anything he put his mind to. I know that the Paul brothers grew up wrestling. And they're very athletic. They're very motivated and dedicated. And I think he'd do great in the UFC. I know the fans would love to see him compete. I think a lot of them possibly would be rooting against him. And that equals dollar signs. So Jake's in a position where he just cannot lose. He's killing it all across the board with his personal businesses. His brother Logan in the WWE. They're just winners, and I can never find myself a hater of winners. I'm actually intrigued by guys who win like that. I try to take a piece of them and try to figure out what they're doing to win, and they got a good formula. I'm super happy for those guys.
And looking back at some of your older fights, your last 3 fights, they all went the distance, and some suggested that you may have missed a step or you weren't as motivated by the competition at the light heavyweight division. Is that true? Do you think that your opponents didn't really get the credit that they deserved, or did you not really have the same motivation as you did against Gustafsson and Cormier?
My motivation, I don't feel was at an all-time high. When you get through fights like Daniel Cormier, when you're just so invested emotionally, it's hard to follow that up with guys who aren't pressing your buttons. But with that being said, I do believe that fans are discrediting my opponents. These guys were some bad dudes. I mean, Thiago Santos, when he got his first his title shot, he was just massacring people, and Dominic Reyes was undefeated. I feel like all great athletes have bad days at work. Tom Brady just lost this season, right? He didn't win the Super Bowl this season. He's still a tremendous competitor and one of the all-time best. Michael Jordan has missed many last shots of the game. All great athletes have their day where they don't perform at the best level. I fortunately have always found a way to win, and so I can't beat myself up over individual bad performances. I really look at the whole body of work, and when I do that, I'm incredibly grateful.
Well, you've proven yourself not only in the octagon, but also on Twitter. You don't shy away from sharing your unfiltered opinions and even starting beef with people like Ciryl Gane.
A little shit.
Yeah. Well, what is it about social media that you have found to be a really important tool for branding and marketing yourself? What do you like about it? And what do you absolutely hate about social media?
My favorite thing about Twitter is I get to write stuff and then delete it. It's one of my favorite things. Yeah, social media, it's a great way to let the fans know how you're feeling and what you're thinking. It's a great way to communicate with the athletes, your competition. One of the ways I use social media is by reaching out to some of the most extraordinary Americans there are, whether they're military members, whether they're singers or actors or humanitarians or ministers, or the list goes on and on and on. I have some really, really awesome, powerful, influential friends out there. And half of them I just simply wrote on Instagram. And so it's an awesome tool. It's an awesome tool. I wish it was around when Muhammad Ali was still around. I would have wrote his ass for sure.
Well, one of your recent tweets has been about the new USADA rules and how all of your previous drug tests, they would not have been deemed positive under the current rules.
Isn't that cool?
It's a little wild, and I'm sure you have a few frustrations considering the suspensions you served and the no contest, wins that were taken away. So do you feel that there are any reparations that the UFC owes you?
Nah, no one owes anything. No one owes anyone anything, At the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm glad to, even though it hurt to be viewed as a cheater, I'm glad to have been able to take the bullet for everybody else. I was in a situation where I've been hurt so many times. I've hurt myself so many times. I can handle pain. I can handle pain. And I was in a position to be able to fight things like that financially, you know what I mean? And get lawyers involved and challenge commissions and hire scientists and things like that. And I do believe that I'm a big reason why that rule was changed. And forever, I get to help these fighters that maybe lives would have been ruined. These baseball players whose lives would have been ruined, and fighters. So I feel like I got to take the bullet for everybody else. And what's sad is that there's still fans out there that just are like, well, you cheated. Where somewhere in my heart, I almost feel like I'm owed a big thank you. But it is what it is. It happened. I survived it. I'm still here. And the future's forever better because of the whole thing. So it's a good thing.
And switch it up a little bit. If you could fight anybody ever, who would your ultimate fantasy fight be?
I think fighting Brock Lesnar would have been really cool. Brock isn't the most technical guy, but he has a massive fan base. He's a lot bigger than me. And it would have been one of those really cool kind of David and Goliath situations. It would have been really cool for cross-sport promoting. And I think we both would have done great things for our family and for our team. Financially, that would have been massive.
I would watch that. That'd be a good fight.
It's not. Never say never. Brock, if you're out there.
That's true. So when you look back at not only the things that you've accomplished, but admittedly, the many mistakes that you have made throughout your career, how do you want to redefine your legacy as you make this next chapter?
You redefine things just by continuing forward and by doing things better one day at a time. I was a young man. I'm still a young man. I've made a lot of mistakes, and Lord's willing, I got a lot more years left on this planet, and I'm excited for people to see the man that I become. I'm a work in progress, and I genuinely believe my late years, I'm going to have a lot of wisdom. I'm going to have a lot of experience, and I have a platform to be able to help people avoid some of the mistakes that I've made. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to just going through the process and the later product.
Well, I think we're all looking forward to that. And especially with you being back, I wouldn't say you have a lot to prove. We all know you're the GOAT. In fact, you were named the MMA Men's Fighter of the Decade of Sporting News in 2019, right before you walked away from the sport. So we're excited to see what you can do. But first, we got to get through Saturday at UFC 285. And maybe you will walk away as heavyweight champion and start a whole nother chapter of your career. Hey,
maybe.
I got to stay neutral here.
Okay, fair enough.
Give me that little extra motivation.
Who are you rooting for?
I can't tell you that. That's.
I thought are you a proud American?
Absolutely, but
Come on, you better get it straight over there, young lady.
Hey, I'm only interviewing one of the two fighters, so I will leave it at that.
I like that. I like that.
There you go.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. All right, there you go.
But Saturday night in Las Vegas, Jon Jones against Ciryl Gane for the heavyweight title at UFC 285. We'll be covering it here on Sporting News. Jon, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy week to talk to me. And good luck on Saturday.
That was fun. You're good. You're good at what you do. All the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was great talking to you.